So what is the most challenging part of your job?
I would have to say that the most challenging part is trying to focus on teaching the kids and not being able to help so much that goes on for them, if that makes sense. So many times it's hard when they come in because a lot of the kids in this community have just a lot of really rough things going on at home. And so sometimes it's hard to be like, okay, let's learn our multiplication tables when, they're like, oh, I didn't get to eat breakfast on the way, or I didn't, so just kind of keeping a balance of the teaching and the caring and kind of trying to meet their needs with the school.
Yeah, so just kind of keeping focus almost. Okay.
Yeah.
Was there something you felt like you were not prepared for coming out of college and entering into the profession?
Yes. I think that my student teaching was amazing and my mentor teacher was amazing, but I think that I wasn't prepared for exactly what it would be like to be in the classroom just me, and coming up with my own set of rules and my teaching style and what that looked like when it was just me with the kids, and just kind of that hands-on experience probably was what I had to develop.
So maybe if you had done that while you were student teaching, just let your mentoring teacher just kind of leave, and then you just basically taking over. That would have been better.
Yeah, I got to do some. There's a project we did. I taught pretty much every day. I taught just with me, but you're still going into a classroom where there's another teacher who's teaching their style and training the kids to kind of do things a certain way, from everything from what's our attention signal to, we'll tie things like how do we organize our pencils, or just so many things about how you want to run your classroom that you don't really think about till you actually start running your classroom.
Yeah, okay.
So,
how do you maintain the quality of your teaching in regards to subjects that you may not like?
Okay. So I would say this is not as much true now, but when I first started teaching, I taught math. And math was I did well in math in school, but I had to try extra in math. And so I would say that was a little bit of a challenge. But I think that knowing what I didn't like about this subject as a student and knowing where I struggled as a student actually, weirdly enough, I found out was an advantage, because I knew what the kids were probably thinking that were struggling.
Yeah.
Whereas, reading clicked more with me in school. And so sometimes it was harder to, okay, well, why aren't these kids interested? I loved reading, trying to connect it with them. So I think it gives you an advantage when you know this is how I would think, or I would think this is kind of boring or whatever. So you can think about how could you make it interesting. So I think it kind of was nice to have that challenge of thinking of myself as a student.
Mm-hmm. I never thought of it like that. That's actually kind of interesting. What do you enjoy most in teaching?
The kids.
The kids, yeah. I figured.
That sounds like a silly answer. I laugh because some days are so hard with the kids, and some days I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to go over the rules again. This is stressful. They're not getting it. You heard that one day where sometimes things just don't go as planned, and that's hard. But it's a lot of fun, especially this age. I love teaching third grade. They're just really excited about everything, and they enjoy talking to you, and they just want to share random facts with you, and it's fun. I enjoy that all day long. It keeps me positive. It keeps me kind of lighthearted. Like today, randomly one of the kids came up to me and said, did you know that there's this type of bird is the national bird of Arizona, and they do this, and because we've been talking about that state, so they love to learn. I think that's fun. That's the part that I enjoy.
That's nice. How much time do you spend outside the classroom on school-related activities?
Oh, I have to admit this one. When I started teaching, which, obviously I'm still pretty new into my career, but anytime I've switched to grade level, it's pretty similar. I would say I spend at least an hour every day after school at this point in time. And then I spend about 2 hours on the weekend lesson planning and grading.
Okay.
And that's much better. When I started, I would say, and to be honest with you, part of it was because I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't know what was important and what those things were that I thought were really important. And then also the fact that I didn't have to have cute lettering on all my anchor charts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that I wanted to do but took so much time, because I remember staying up past midnight every night when I first started teaching and trying to do everything and do everything perfectly. And I wish I hadn't done that, because I think that the caring was good, but if I had just rested more and kind of paced myself out, then once I got to school, I could think on my feet a little bit better. So I still would say that I definitely spend probably about 5 hours or more a week outside the classroom. But I think there's teachers who adapt and they get here earlier and they figure out those things that
it's just something you've got to kind of like figure out.
Yeah. Get used to your curriculum and all of that.
So how much of your own money do you spend every year on your classrooms and students?
I don't have to say out loud. Okay.
Just like a general amount.
I would say that now is a lot less because I felt like I've built up a lot of resources. I would say that I definitely got tricked is not the right word, because there's some amazing resources online, like with Teachers Pay Teachers, but there's so many things that I would purchase that weren't necessarily the best instructional usage. They might have been cute or fun, but so I would say I probably in the past have spent several hundreds of dollars on Teachers Pay Teachers. We get $200 to spend in our classroom, which is nice. And then I would say probably most of the time when we do special activities, they're out of pocket. So like if we're going to do a Thanksgiving activity or craft, I would say maybe $100 to $150 a year on things like that.
Okay.
But of course that's up to what you want to do and what supplies you might already have in your classroom that would make that different.
Yeah.
So
how do you separate work from home?
I'm still working on that a little bit.
Okay.
But I will encourage you as you get further into this and you, even in your student teaching, and especially when you go out and have your own classroom, that one is a huge deal, because I didn't think about it. You know, I thought I'm a new teacher, I'm dedicated, and I felt good about how many hours I was spending on it, but then you get worn down. I was talking to a student teacher that we have here at the school the other day, and he said, I went home this week, and he said, I fell asleep on the couch at 6:30 because I've never been so exhausted. And I said, that will do that to you. You have to, first of all, it sounds simple, but it was hard for me to do at first, is you have to just leave it at school some days and just look at it and say, what will happen, this is the question I ask myself now, what will happen if I don't do that tonight?
Yeah.
What will happen if I go home and I leave this on my desk? What will tomorrow look like?
Yeah.
You know, and there's going to be things, you know, during certain seasons like report cards or when parent-teacher conferences are coming up that you're going to have to put that extra time in.
Mm-hmm.
But when I asked myself that, I found that there's a lot of things that I can leave here and do another day, and I'll still have just as a productive day tomorrow. So just leaving it at school. Don't bring giant tons and tons of bags home to grade and books and stuff. I did that, and a lot of times you won't get that done like you think you will, because you'll be tired and you need to spend time with your family or spend time for yourself. And that's the biggest thing, is if you take care of yourself, you'll be a better teacher. If you're stressed out and tired from staying up grading, you know, that big bag you brought home, then you'll be less patient with the kids the next day. And so say leave it at school. I would say make yourself a to-do list, you know, be pinpointed, you know, have a list that's things that you want to do eventually and then things that have to be done that day.
Yeah.
Is helpful.
Okay. And then last question. Have you ever dealt with any parent issues, and if so, what's your advice?
I have had some negative parent experiences, partially because there were just a lot of factors there that didn't really have anything to, I mean, they had some to do with me, but I would just say don't take it too personally. I mean, own up to it when when a parent's coming forward and saying something, majority of the time they just want to be heard. And in the beginning, I had some parents who were really upset about things, and then it would turn out that what they were upset about actually had nothing to do with me or my classroom,
Yeah.
So I would say this is kind of my method for it that I've learned through trial and error, and it works most of the time, is if a parent comes to you, first of all, to kind of be on the defense of protecting against parent problems, just really keep communication open. Start the school year out letting parents know who you are. I send a letter home every year that just says, write to me and tell me anything you want me to know about your child. What do you love about your child? What do you struggle with your child? What can I do for your child? Because it lets them know that we're on, as cheesy as it sounds, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I feel like parents think that the teachers, don't want to hear them or don't take them seriously. Or sometimes they have a good relationship with the school, and that's great, but just kind of making that first introduction. Keep the communication open. Let them know about anything you have a question about. Allow them to communicate with you. If they are upset, like I said, I usually just let them vent. I don't say anything. I mean, if you can sense that it's going to get out of control, definitely get another teacher in with you. Definitely have your administration maybe with you, so there's some sort of somebody there's accountability to help you deal with the situation. But I would say let them get it out. Let them feel like you're hearing them and you're not lecturing them or you're not arguing with them. And then I usually just try and write down the main points of why they're upset. What are the things that I can do to help you with that? I understand you're frustrated that your child doesn't have time to do the homework assignment because you want your child to be involved in all these things. Well, what can we do to meet in the middle on that? And then I had a teacher tell me this, and this is the thing that's helped me, and it's kind of cheesy, but she always says use a compliment sandwich, but be sincere about it. So start out the conversation with the parent. Like I always start my conferences, tell me, is there anything you want to talk about before I say anything? And then I'll talk. And then I'll give a compliment about their child. I don't make anything up. I don't sugarcoat it. Something really, and it may be easy to come up with something, or it may be that they have a lot of behavior problems, and you have to say, they're really good at, playing with others, or they're, it may not be academic related, but something they're really good at. Be honest, but not judgmental or anything in the middle about the problem, and then kind of end on a positive note too. Because a lot of times I found if parents know that you care about their child, and you want to help and work with them, they'll work with you too.
Okay, that's it.